Sorry.
Please.
Okay, that's all right. You guys are really ruining my suspense here.
I know. I must apologize on behalf of Guide to the Unknown. We apologize.
This is their first time doing this.
I
They know how
don't.
to talk to
Yeah,
other
we don't know
people.
what we're doing.
They don't know. They don't know.
Hello, welcome to Guides the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week we have two of our good friends, Chelsey Weber-Smith of American Hysteria and Jim Perry of Euphomet and Night Drift. Thank you both so much for being here.
So excited to be here.
These are two of our, I'm about to say in real life friends, although I have not met you literally physically in real life, but we talk besides shows and stuff. And we thought that it would be fun to just have a little state of the union, a state of the boonion about what we've all been enjoying.
Have you met either of these people in person?
No.
Not
Never.
really. I've met both of them in person.
Oh, that's
Yes.
right. I forgot you have.
I've seen
We've
each of
all
these
met in
people in real
person.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Confirm flesh and blood bodies, not AI.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tons of
Blood
blood.
bags.
Chatbots.
You
You should have seen the flesh and blood.
So you can't be sure that I'm not AI, really.
That's true.
You don't
Don't
have
know.
concrete proof.
So, Jim, let's start with you because you already said you would go first. What have you been watching lately?
I've been watching that show Outer Range. As of last night, I finished, I think I'm on the 7th episode or something. And without spoilers, and I'm interested to hear if you guys have also been watching this, but there's so much to watch. I'm sure you experience this. You tell people like, hey, there's this really good thing. They're like, yeah, just add it to the list. Like, don't even tell me
Yeah.
about it.
Without
It's-
question.
Yeah.
But I've been watching this show, and it's just it's frustrating because it's mystery after mystery
Ooh.
after mystery. It's an onion that they don't start like peeling back the onion to reveal any secret.
Yeah.
The onion just like gains more layers. So we're
Oh,
looking at like some sort of monster onion.
I was about to say
growing.
something's wrong with this
Yeah.
onion.
Yeah,
A munion.
yeah, 100%. Like one of those like it's a version of an onion that happens in another country, and you're like, I've never seen this type of onion. Doesn't exist. Like,
And
what
to
is
them,
this?
it's
This
totally
isn't a
normal.
thing. Yeah, and they're like, well, in Australia, it is.
Sounds
That's
like an
the show.
artichoke, right? It's like an artichoke.
Yeah. It is like
Yeah.
an artichoke.
I think this onion of Outer Range is actually an artichoke.
I have to admit,
I think
I
you're probably
don't
right.
think I know what this show is.
I don't
Okay,
Me
so
neither.
you got it's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Free plug there for a little independent company.
Yeah,
that just
exactly.
needs all of us to
You're such
support
a
it
hero.
in tough times.
Good for you.
Yeah, Josh Brolin is the star of it. They're out in the frontier in modern times, and a giant hole appears on their property, and then mystery ensues. Strange characters start coming to the range and interacting with them, and you essentially got Mel's Hole style mystery. But the mystery is just mystery after mystery after mystery.
Is it sort
Very-
of from the Lost playbook, the puzzle box sort of deep?
Yes.
Every time you solve one thing, you have to add 2 new mysteries. I think was J.J. Abrams' methodology.
It's that, but if somebody said like, you know that part about every mystery you solve, and then no, just don't even worry about that. Just add another mystery.
Oh, so it's the final season of Lost.
Yes.
Kristen, this sounds like Pretty Little Liars.
I was
to me.
thinking the exact
You were not.
same thing, Chelsey. Of course I was. I was still engaged with Jim, of course, but I was thinking to myself, I have to talk to Chelsey about the Pretty Little
My
Liars
eyes were
promotional.
slowly.
I can't wait until it's
What
my
will
turn
I
to speak.
say? Yeah, exactly.
I saw you
What
tweet
will I
at Chelsey to be like, "Did you notice this?" Because there was a new trailer, and I think Chelsey were just like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm on it." It's like, all right, they're off, they're in good shape.
Oh yeah, we're fine.
So that's coming back, Pretty Little Liars.
Oh yeah, July
I didn't mean to cut you off,
28th.
Jim.
Yeah, I still want to hear about Outer Range. We'll get to Pretty Little Liars.
I could have sworn that was pretty done, wasn't it?
I mean,
It was
yeah.
pretty little done.
Yeah, it ended a while ago, but they decided that we couldn't be without it.
I'm gonna say something that I don't think spoils Pretty Little Liars.
Okay.
I don't think it does, because you made me watch some stuff, and one time I just asked you to tell me everything, and I don't remember anything.
All order.
All I remember is there's a mystery, right? And somebody who goes by the initial A
Yes.
is behind the scenes pulling the strings. Early on, they revealed who A was, and then somebody else started acting as A.
Yeah.
And then that wrapped up. And what I saw you tweet to Chelsey was a trailer that ends with a letter that's like, "I'm back," signed A. And I was like, which one? Aren't there like 5 of them, and they all were buttoned up?
Well, it ended very problematically, one could say, after many years. But that's okay. We can't give it away. It's a spoiler, problematic spoiler. But no, they're coming back. It's sort of unrelated. It's help me with his name.
Who are you thinking? Oh,
the director
from Riverdale. What the hell's this guy's name?
Greg Berlanti.
No.
A and then something. Aguare.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Real big fan of this guy.
Yeah, clearly.
I'm a huge fan of this person. I have no idea what their name is.
But it's the Riverdale Sabrina playbook. So we're expecting, and it's going to be on HBO, so it's going to like go harder because the other one was on ABC Family turned Freeform,
right?
Which is a very different caliber of show. So it's like kind of a continuation. It sounds like, right, Kristen? It's like,
yes, I think it's in a town nearby Rosewood. But I don't think any of the original characters are involved. I think it's just that somebody is also going by A. Perhaps it's going to be like there's a copycat of Rosewood. I mean, I don't know that,
but it seems like it might be a fresh.
It's 100%.
But there's like enough. But there is lore. Established lore, I think. Yeah.
I think so. And I know that I'm very excited. It's very multi-generational. Like I think that this A has a beef against the parents specifically, which was always a theory about Pretty Little Liars, that it really had to do with
Outer Range.
Is that something that's going down? Really?
There's a mysterious A symbol that keeps like shifting its meaning. And we think it's the Abbotts, but now we're not so sure.
Is that actually true?
And it's true.
Because you know what? I just stopped because I just remembered.
I never know with this guy.
I know. I need to review the tape. Jim, I remember that in the episode that you, Chelsey, and I did a couple of years ago, you had me going about something. And I don't remember what it was. Yeah. But I was like, really? Really? And then you were like,
this is true.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, this is true. So I think we've discovered that there's like some weird crossover. We're witnessing the extension of the universe of Pretty Little Liars, and Josh Brolin is in it now. And now there's a hole in the back of the field, and just
not mad at any of that. Maybe
leads
you go
to Rosewood.
Maybe you go through the hole, and it leads you to a town near Rosewood, Pennsylvania.
There you go.
Love it.
Good at
we
this.
figured it out.
Yeah.
Good at this.
How far in is Outer Range? Is that what it's called? How many seasons?
They've released just the first season.
Okay.
And I haven't watched the whole thing yet. But
strong recommend for where you're at now?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you want to keep being tricked for hours, then definitely check it out. Listen, the photography is beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, the acting is good. They have some great actors in it.
Technicals. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. But if you're looking for answers, I'd suggest it's just like the paranormal. You're not going to find any.
Yeah.
Enjoy the experience.
Isn't it funny that like in stories, I've been thinking about this a lot, particularly lately. It is rewarding in stories for things to make thematic sense and be tied up. It is not rewarding in stories to never find out the answer, even though that's what real life does.
Yes.
You know, like I was thinking about it because I was writing something the other day and I was like, you'd almost have to set up early on. You'd have to have a character at the beginning of a movie say, not every question gets answered. Mm-hmm. So that at the end of the movie, if you decide not to answer a question, people don't rebel and say it sucks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I think that's why it's so satisfying to have answers in stories, because we don't get them in real life. So it's like, thank God we have some refuge somewhere. So that's part of why we get so pissed when they're not answered in TV shows.
Yeah. I think you're 1,000% right. I think we need to scratch that itch about reality. Reality is not narratively satisfying.
No.
But that's what makes scary stuff so compelling, is the not knowing.
Yeah.
What is in the woods? I don't know to this day. That'll sit with you for the rest of your life. But in a movie, if you don't go into the woods at some point, people just go like, well, that movie sucks. Nothing happens. Right. People still complain about not seeing anything in the Blair Witch.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get
Which
it.
would have been a cardinal sin.
I know.
yeah.
People don't
It would
get
have been
it.
the worst. I know. I can't even. You don't show the monster in horror if
I
you can
know.
help it.
If you can help
If
it.
it's really important, show the monster. But I'd say,
Although I
gonna
will
be
still
worse, but we
continue
can
to
think
defend Blair Witch 2016 for showing a monster.
I do.
I don't even remember what it looked like.
Really?
It's like
I'm gonna look it up right now.
It's a big,
I'm looking it up now.
It's a white stretched out thing, basically.
lanky. The thing's limbs
I don't
are
like
like
that.
5.5 feet tall.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
And people
Okay.
flipped out and they were
That's
like, they
pretty
showed The
good.
Witch. You're never supposed to show that. And I was like, yeah, but it's a sequel.
Right.
You
Now,
can't get away without
sequel.
showing
Ooh,
anything.
it's scary. I didn't
forever.
remember this. This is scary.
I was
It's
going to say
good.
that
It
sounds
deserves
like
more
one of
credit.
your worst nightmares, Chelsea. If I remember, one of your least favorite things are like long, skinny, like creatures that like maybe are on 4 legs or not, but very
It's
like
stilts, Jim. I'm afraid of
Yeah.
people on stilts.
yeah.
Really?
They have to be wearing the stilt pants. It's fine if I can see their feet and they're just funny on stilts. That doesn't matter. But if they look like they have long legs, it is to the level of phobia.
Really?
Really?
Cold sweat, heart palpitate. Yeah, it's actually not very funny. No, it's very funny. It's very funny. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I've
No,
got
it's,
something for you. I just
What do
talked
you
about
have?
this on the show a few weeks ago. I think I had this idea. I had a thought. I went to New York and then I decided to go to Times Square because it's horrible. And I sat there to write to see just what would happen. Almost like when they give a spider LSD to see what kind of a web it'll make.
I didn't
You know
know
what I'm
that
talking
they
about?
do. I
Exactly
didn't know
like
that.
that.
I just like
Exactly
I wonder
like
what
that.
my stories will look like if I'm severely uncomfortable outside.
Quick question: Have either of you been to Times Square? Have you
Sure.
experienced this? Yeah.
So I was just like sitting there looking at all the people, looking at everything, and then I started thinking, if ghosts are real, just statistically, there'd have to be a ton in New York. Statistically, with how packed Times Square is, there'd have to be a bunch here right now. And as I thought that, I looked up and there was a person on stilts as the Statue of Liberty. So like that pale green mask.
Oh boy.
The person on stilts
You're hitting on
turned
something here,
and
yeah.
made eye contact with me. The second that I had the thought, I wonder if there are ghosts
Wow.
here. And I just started going like, maybe having that thought
Right.
sends a wavelength out and ghosts go, oh, he's waking up.
Yeah.
He's
It's a
seeing
tulpa.
through it. Right?
Right.
Created a tulpa.
But it was
with your
horrible.
Yeah.
thoughts.
They were like 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Horrible. Absolute nightmare. Yep.
Ugh,
You're not
no,
wrong
thank
about
you.
what you're saying, I don't think. You know what I mean? I think like the idea of thought forms. I mean, look at how that has extended potentially through like what we consider being fictional horror and things that scare us into people's real experiences
Mhm.
where they see something and they're like, I can't tell anybody I saw that because it looks
Yeah.
exactly like a movie. They'll think I'm going fucking nuts.
Yes.
And that happens over and over and over again in reports.
Yeah, absolutely. Like some of the most interesting stories are when people are like, I did not want to tell this story.
Yeah, that always makes it feel more valid to me.
Yeah.
Always.
We just did an episode about monsters in Toronto. Like we did like Canadian monsters. And there was this story about a guy who said that it was the Cabbage Town Monster, I think it was.
Yep.
There was this
That
report.
sounds so Canadian.
I know, doesn't it? It was named
So gentle, a vegetable monster.
So gentle.
It was named Cabbage Town because it was a place where a bunch of Irish people lived and they said it was stinky.
Oh well. No,
So
there you go.
I mean, right now we're in a place where a bunch of Irish people live because the two of us are down here, and it is quite stinky.
I don't know that I could claim to smell that great right now. But so this guy, there was this story where he was like, yeah, I was trying to find a cat that I was taking care of. And I went down into this tunnel and I saw something down there. And it looked at me and it said, go away, go away. And he goes, I don't know who told you this story, but I never wanted to talk about this. I never wanted to talk about this to a reporter. And they changed his name for the paper. They didn't use his real name. There was not, it was like not the case of like, because so often like I'll read about stories for the show or something where it's like, yeah, something horrible happened to me, so I made it a bed and breakfast. You know, like I'm like, all right, well, it's sort of
You don't really mind interacting with it further past your first.
right. Yeah, it gives it a flavor, I think. But this guy was like, no, don't even print my real name, and that to me is gives it far more validity, even if I don't believe it.
Yeah. But it definitely
Sure.
makes you believe that the guy believes it at the
Yes.
very least.
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. That's been happening with Euphomet more often than not now. People submitting their stories who are just listeners, just normal folks that have no intention of, sort of releasing a book or writing a movie about it. Well, not that I know of.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to write a movie, though. Let's be honest. But these are folks that are like, hey, I would just rather, because of my position in life or whatever, and because I'm still dealing with how I feel about saying this publicly, they're like, can I just go by a pseudonym? Like, can you just give me a different name? And I'd like to remain anonymous. And that happens more often than not now.
Yeah.
And of course,
How good are your pseudonyms?
terrible.
Peter
Do they get to
Weenie.
choose their own?
They
Peter
can, yes.
Weenie?
They
Oh my
can and
God.
they do. Yeah, Peter.
You
Weenie.
can go by a pseudonym, but I get to pick. That's the trade-off. Dr. Stinky saw something.
That's a pretty good trade-off.
That's a great trade-off, I think.
They should have done that on Unsolved Mysteries for like the shadowy people.
Yes. Our dad raised us. He would be like, all right, we're getting bagels or something, or donuts. You guys can split this donut, but one of you cuts it in half, and then the other one gets to pick which half they want. That way,
smart?
that way, there's not just one person who can cut it and pick the 55% or something like that. That's the trade-off. You can drop the real name, but I'm the one who picks what you are known as forever.
Right.
And I've got horrible ideas.
And maybe everybody else won't know that you're Mary Sausage Link, but you know.
Yes.
And you don't feel good about it.
And you can say, by the way, this is definitely their real name. You don't have to tell the audience that it's made up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's their voice. So people are just like, wow. All right. That's what
weird.
this person is all about.
Okay.
I think you have some emails coming your way from me, sir.
So, Jim, you've been super into Outer Range lately. Chelsey, is there anything that you have been watching lately?
Well, I'm going to actually go back in the past and talk about something I've been reading, but don't worry, it's
Please.
not a book. It's not a boring ass book. It
Gross.
is the first creepypasta, The Cave, or whatever. It's something about the cave. Yeah, I'm telling you guys. Wait, let me look.
The
what it's
first
called.
creepypasta?
Well, that's what it claims to be. Yeah, it's called
No
Ted
kidding.
the Caver. Yeah. At least it's one of the original, maybe like the first one that got popular enough to, spur on other things within its category or something
Sure.
like that. But yeah, it's my partner Miranda and I, she works on American Hysteria. We've been reading it out loud at night to the soundtrack of The Witch.
Oh my God. This sounds awesome.
Just in our bed. It's so great. It started on our
innovation.
anniversary. We were like, we have to do something. Yeah. And yeah,
I
so we've been doing
love
that.
that.
And it's been days. It's so long.
Chelsey, I love
And it's-
that.
Oh yeah, I bet.
I'm gonna steal that from. I'm not even kidding. I'm gonna steal that.
You'll really like this story. It's like it's very long. It's Descent-esque,
Yeah.
but only in that it happens in a cave. Really,
Sure.
there's not a lot of other similarities. But yeah, it's about something's in the cave. It's a long kind of like very, very detailed description of trying to get into this second part of the cave through like drilling through. And it's just, it goes on and on and on, but it's like the tension, it's like a slow burn, but we haven't gotten bored at all for some reason, even though it's like really technical, but yeah. And it's
Sounds
just,
like a
it's like a
History Channel show.
diary. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like a diary
Like
format.
Skinwalker
though.
Ranch back there.
Yeah.
It does. Yes.
I love the idea. I'm obsessed with like trying to find the origin points of things. It never even occurred to me to find the first creepypasta. I love that. Even if it's not to your point, it may not literally be the first, but if everybody sort of agrees this is the inroad that we had, then it's as good as the first. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. And if I'm wrong, I might be wrong, but I believe that's what Miranda told me because she found the story because we're like, let's read our favorite creepypastas. And then I did like Squidward suicide.
Oh my God.
Wait, I don't know.
Wow.
Do you know
it was
about
way
that?
too
Yeah, I think I
dark. It was way too dark.
Because that's the same as like the lost like Bart's death. This is creepypasta.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
the same like
the same thing.
Oh God, it's like a Candle Cove and that kind of.
We were
Did you ever read
just
Candle
talking
Cove?
about this.
What is Candle Cove?
That's my favorite creepypasta, I think.
Ooh,
It's
favorite
Candle Cove.
creepypastas.
It actually Channel Zero, which I know you guys have watched, right?
Sure. Yep.
No,
Yeah.
but I almost interrupted you to say that Chelsey told me about this on Channel Zero when you were telling me about Candle Cove.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes,
It
no,
was one of
yeah,
the things
so-
that they adapted. Brilliant idea for a show. Creepypastas, for anybody who just doesn't know for some reason, creepypastas, it's a ridiculous name for just scary stories that people write on the
I know
internet.
it sucks.
I know.
Ignore the name.
It's too late though.
Well, my
you know?
understanding is
We're
that
too
it-
far.
there were things that people would write that were like so funny, people would just constantly copy and paste them, almost like memes. Copy and paste this story, and then copy and paste. It became known as copy pastas.
Yeah.
And then when they started being done with scary stories, they just changed it to creepy pastas. I used to, this was years ago, probably a decade plus ago. Every week I would post a creepypasta that I loved and end it with a picture of like a pig eating potato chips as a palate cleanser. I'd be like, I know you're so scared getting to the bottom of the story. Here's a picture of like a pug in a hat.
You're safe.
I used to do that constantly, and I would keep a file of creepy pastas I liked, and then I kept another file of crappy pastas, I called them. I still have this.
Yeah.
And they were just
Those are good too.
the shittiest, the worst ones I've ever read. And it used to be that you didn't even know who wrote these things.
Yeah.
So you could just sort of share them freely. But as we've learned, you've really got to cite your sources these days. These are authors.
Yeah.
Some of these are incredibly intricately written stories, and they're amazing.
No, I know because I just wasn't thinking. I was having like a complicated day with my day job, and I pulled some creepypastas to read on Guides the Unknown, and then Will afterward was like, we probably need permission for that. And I was like, oh my God, you're absolutely right. I wasn't thinking at all. And luckily the two people whose stories I read were really cool about it, but one of them was like, you did really need to ask for this because I could have an exclusivity deal with somebody who wants to read this. And if like it was breached without me knowing it, whatever. I mean, it hadn't even occurred to me. So
They read her the riot act.
Yeah.
a little bit.
So wait, let's talk about Candle Cove then. Did you say that that's your favorite,
Intense.
Chelsey?
It's one. I definitely think it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite. It's about a. Let's see if it's about like this dinner party. It's very, very short, about people recalling a TV show that was on when they were kids. That was like a puppet show, and it's like the reason I like it is because nobody like. And I might be getting the show mixed up, and this might not be in the creepypasta, so feel free to correct me. But it's like the tension of like when you feel like you remember something, but it's just outside of your memory, because that shit is so scary to me. And like, you know, when you like see a picture, especially especially so with kids TV shows, like you'll see a picture of something, you'll remember the show, and it's just like like Eureka's Castle or like Dave and the Gnome. These are ones that come like they're just like eerie and you can barely remember them, and so it like triggers like forgotten feeling. I don't know, it's weird. But that's really what that story sort of captures for me. And then if there's like more to it, I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, that's kind of the heart of it. Will, is there anything worth saying?
I think Candle Cove is one of those stories that like I knew people loved, so I tried to get into it, but didn't quite ping. I think that the great thing about creepypastas to me is that there are just so goddamn many that you can probably find one that's going to resonate with you deeply, even if you can't quite put your finger on why. The one that really got me. I tried to read this for No Sleep, the podcast No Sleep. I read, I'd narrated a story on that a long time ago. But I initially submitted for this, and they were like, "We already did that." And I was like, "Oh, right, I listen every week. I knew that." It's a story called A Game of Flashlight Tag. And there's a particular image that is described in this story that, it's kids all playing in like a little suburbia. They're on a cul-de-sac, or at least this is how I picture. Similar to you, when you were saying that, you're like, maybe I'm getting parts of Candle Cove wrong. I'm like, who cares? Who cares?
Right.
What folklore is like it lives in the telling. It lives here right now. I know it's on a screen somewhere, and there are facts of the story. not relevant right now.
I'm telling you this, and we're still going to be
Absolutely.
creeped out by it, whether it's completely accurate or not.
Exactly. So all these kids are playing in the backyards on a cul-de-sac. So, we're playing in my backyard, then we run through Mr. Henderson's backyard, and we end up in your backyard over there. And they're playing flashlight tag. So they keep pointing their flashlights at each other and going, "You're it," and then having to run from the person with the flashlight. And at a certain point, one of the boundaries of it is you can't go into the woods. We all agree that the playing area is the backyards. You can't go around to the front of the house, no going inside, and you cannot go into the line of trees behind the houses. And of course, the main character does. He's desperate to hide from the flashlight. He ducks just out of sight, and he's hiding in the trees. And he hears something behind him. It's like a crunch, foot on dry leaves and twigs snapping. And he turns around thinking that there's somebody there, but doesn't see anybody. And then somebody starts calling for him, so he runs out of the trees and he starts playing the game again. And as they're wrapping up for the night, everybody's tired. They realize one of the girls isn't here anymore. They're trying to find her. And it starts to escalate. And they eventually go, maybe she went home. So they go to check on her. She did not go home. They cannot find her. Finally, the parents start getting involved in taking it kind of seriously. So they come out with their flashlights, their grown-up flashlights, and everybody is looking for this girl. And now our main character, he goes back to that line of trees because he remembers hearing the snapping of branches behind him. And he points his flashlight into the trees and he sees her. And the image that's described is among all the trees, he just sees her like peeking out from behind a tree, but it's just weird. She's almost like twitching. She's like twitching and shaking, almost like bobbing up and down. And he goes, "What are you doing? Quit fooling around. Everybody's looking for you." She doesn't say anything. She just twitches more. And then eventually he just goes like, she's here, but she's being weird. They go in there and she was obviously dead. And whoever was in there was basically trying to lure him in by making it seem like she was alive to get him to come in next.
That's scary.
Basically where the story ends. But God, it just like the film for me, I told it to you as a cul-de-sac. Again, I don't know if that's true, but when I picture this story, it is where we lived in Missouri.
I was picturing the same thing. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. It's not a story reality. It's my life. And I can picture so vividly the image of almost like she's a doll.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, just being kind of like jiggled and manipulated.
Puppeting her.
I know, right?
That is the one that I think of first and always. I don't know who wrote it. Whoever wrote it is brilliantly they just captured something that scared me so deeply.
A maniac.
They're out of their
They're
minds.
a maniac.
You want to avoid them, basically.
Let's stay on this unless there's nothing. Jim, do you have a creepypasta that springs to mind, or do you have any fondness for them?
I mean, I do and I don't. I mean, I don't because it makes my job a little harder. Because sometimes I get stories and I go, I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
And I have to like see if it exists. And sometimes it does. And sometimes it's a creepypasta.
Yeah.
Chelsey and I used to get that asked. We used to get that asked sometimes about Euphomet. Like, how do you choose your stories? How do you know they're real? And the idea is that, what really matters is that the witness believes in what they experienced, no matter what. And that there's a transformation that occurs, etc. When it's just copy and paste and someone is adopting a creepypasta as their narrative, it gets a little weird, right?
Yeah.
The intersection that I've been fascinated about as of lately and have been starting to dig into a little bit is when that divide is blurred, and that when those narratives, just like a thought form of some sort, almost enter into reality, or at least the experiencer's reality. And so things like the Plaid Man have been making an appearance in people's dreams since being released as sort of a weird creepypasta mix of like Slender Man meets Hat Man.
Huh.
And there's like these, they've, to a lot of experiencers in real life, have been appearing as in like sort of nighttime visitations, and they've been taking over people that have had sort of traumatic nighttime paranormal visitations. They've been taking the place now of like sort of gray aliens or shadow people, And
Or
so
like, yeah.
That's so
it's
interesting.
been
to me.
changing the nature of how we relate to like whatever this energy is, whether it's psychological or whether it is like something truly unknown. That's been so fascinating to me. And yeah, like the plaid man thing is happening everywhere right now. It's this guy with a stupid hat on and a plaid shirt and looks like Beck, and he's rolling around and messing with people's lives. And so
Trying to sell
that's
you on Scientology.
Is Becca Scientologist?
Trying to
Yes.
Whoa.
I see pictures of this. What should I look at?
I know.
just a picture of yourself,
Plaid
Chelsea.
man.
I was about to
Oh
say,
my
Chelsea,
God.
God, I am a plaid man.
you're wearing plaid and you've got a hat. I don't know if I would say it's a stupid hat.
That'd be just fine.
Oh, Chelsea came over again.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
We finally met in real life. It's interesting to think
What
that
is it, man?
like the
I
plaid.
was just gonna say, what is it about like is the plaid man? Is he tall? Does he have long arms and legs or not? Or is he just a regular
Sometimes.
man?
Yeah, no.
He sometimes is.
It
Okay.
sometimes is. It's like almost it's like Slender Man-esque, I think, in figure.
But Seattle Slenderman.
Seattle Slenderman, Capitol Hill Slenderman, John Slenderman, and he has a hat like the Hat Man, right? But like he's like a weird fusion of a lot of these different elements, and then the stories that people are experiencing allegedly within real life are sort of like creepypasta stories that have come to life allegedly. And so the veracity of these claims, I don't know, but I do know that there is a community that is crossing over from creepypasta into the paranormal now that are saying like, guys, listen, this is what, like, I know I sound crazy, but this is what really happened to me.
Interesting.
And having paranormal investigators now starting to take notice, going like, wait a minute, what the fuck is really going on
Yeah.
here? Like, maybe this isn't just like creepypasta. Maybe this is something else. And, you know, over the decades, over the centuries, over for millennia, potentially, we have had this relationship with the paranormal and thought forms and manifestation and potentially the phenomena interacting with us in ways that it believes that we can understand it. This is what people have said. This is not my personal beliefs, but this is what people have said. So if that is truth and we've experienced these things in waves, then why not? Why isn't it that the creepypasta characters that have invaded people's mind space through popular culture and everything else that have made deep impressions with them are now appearing in place of things like gray aliens?
Sure.
It's fascinating.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, here's something that's like very like zeitgeisty, pop culture-y, but like I used to think about this when I was a kid, and now it's like everywhere in movies, like the multiverse. Just like the theory that there are infinite universes where every decision you've made in this universe, I made decision A. There's another universe out there where I made decision B. It could be something as huge as moving across the country or not, or it could be as minute as like, did I put jelly on that peanut butter sandwich? Right. Every single decision has been borne out in another universe. Once somebody creates a character, there must be a universe where that character is real.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Just mathematically. So somebody creates the plaid man here. Even like we're big fans of Trevor Henderson on Twitter. Does like incredible artwork and makes monsters and stuff. Created a character that people love right now called Siren Head. Giant lanky thing with a big scary like almost like a tornado alarm siren kind of shape.
Oh my God.
The second that he made that image, if you believe in the multiverse, there's gotta be a universe out there where Siren Head is real.
Keep me away from that.
So
part of the multiverse.
Every single
pass.
fictional character must exist somewhere if you believe in this theory.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, like, did they exist before the artist created them here?
Right.
Yes.
Like, did that idea come to them somehow and then they bore it out in a way that was just foretold, basically?
It channeled this other universe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what creativity
And now here
is.
comes a skeptic.
Please
Got
do.
a skeptic's idea here.
Oh, by the way, I don't believe in anything.
I don't not believe in anything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then you're not the skeptic now.
Yeah.
Hey, I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I would think of it as like just the newest iteration of an old archetype, right? Like Slenderman has, I like to call him Slenderman because of last podcast, and it just comes out that way. But Slenderman, he is I don't know what his predecessor would be. Either of you have ideas in terms of folklore, but it's what the key, it's what you read. So you have split, just like say you have a sense that something happened to you that you maybe had access to be boring about it. And then you went to a meeting with a bunch of people who said that they'd been abducted by aliens. Jim, we've talked about this at length, might then be influenced by those stories to allow this mystery that's happened to you to take a form that other people can also communicate to you about. You're like, okay, I was abducted by an alien. Aliens are a thing. Yeah. Now we can talk about both experiencing this thing that otherwise had no form for us. And so I think that that's pretty interesting. And then, and then it goes the other way where you can like make a story come alive. And Slenderman is the perfect example with the murders that happened, which is sometimes I think we forget that like how wild that was.
Yeah.
That actually, and I mean, I'm not trying to go down to a downer note or anything. It's just that like the power of even like teenage myth is like so long still, and it's never going to go away. It's just going to be weirder because of the internet.
Yes.
Yeah. It just transforms. Yeah. I like that.
No, I mean, it's completely true. Like there are two different sides of the same coin of talking about the way that culture affects people. Yeah. Or whether, people affect culture or whatever.
I think it has to be both, right? I think parts of both of that situation is true, because at the end of the day, we are just looking for, people are trying to find a narrative device to explain to them something that is happening unknown.
Yeah.
Whether that is physically, whether it's metaphysically, whether it's spiritually, whether it's happening within the multiverse and we're experiencing it within ripples. We're just trying to satiate some need we have to explain what our own personal narrative is. And sometimes it's with these archetypes.
Yeah, it feels so much better to have language to explain whatever you're experiencing. So if you find something that relates to what's going on with you, in culture, on the internet, whatever, other people's stories, like you're going to gravitate toward that because you want that connection and to feel like you're not the only person who experienced this. And now you know how to explain it to somebody else.
Yeah. I also have to add an addendum real quick, just for what I just philosophized there as a step by. I have to also say that I do believe in the experiencer story, and that I do believe people experience things that they can understand, and that we have no idea of how to comprehend, like including ghosts and aliens and everything else. So I will put that's my.
I
would like to second that as well, because I have plenty of unexplained happenings in my own life and don't know shit.
Wait, can you tell us one?
I mean, sure. Give me a category.
Give me a ghost. I love a classic ghost.
You want a ghost? All right, let's see. We'll go a fun, simple route. I told this one to Sapphire Sandalo, who I think you guys have had on your show probably at some point on her show a while ago. But it was, I was at my dad's house with my friend Eli, and he was telling me he had been staying there for about a month. My dad's house is like a little creepy. And so we were sitting there. Yeah,
not
I know
his house.
Shut up, Jim, not Jim Weber's house. So we were just sitting on the couch. He'd been sleeping out in the living room where there's a big glass door, and he'd been hearing just a lot of weird sounds. My dad's like, it's just the raccoons, they come into that part of the house. And,
doesn't help me probably.
It's just the
situation.
I can explain this one. This is not an unexplained occurrence. I heard that's what's up with those UFO videos too. It's just raccoons.
Just someone throwing a raccoon and filming it. With a flashlight on it. Yeah.
Their eyes glow in the dark. We know that.
Just kids being kids, playing pranks.
Raccoon kids.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
Please.
Okay, that's all right. You guys are really ruining my suspense here.
I know. I must apologize on behalf of Guide to the Unknown. We apologize.
This is their first time doing this.
I
They know how
don't.
to talk to
Yeah,
other
we don't know
people.
what we're doing.
They don't know. They don't know. They've been living in the attic for so long as
Exactly.
siblings. So then let's see. Yeah, we were sitting on the couch. He was explaining that he had been hearing all these weird things, thought it was raccoons, but he's also a ghostly believer type person. So we were just making jokes, everything. And he said, I think it was probably raccoons. And I said, no, it was definitely a ghost. And right when I said it was definitely a ghost, something in the attic went boom. And then you could hear all of, like, the dirt trickle down the wall. And then the cabinet unlatched and opened slowly, like, it was dope.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, that was
It's
confirmation.
classic shit, right?
That's
Classic.
awesome.
Good.
That's the most. That's
Yep.
the most.
And
you
there's
can hope
another
for.
witness. Yeah, and it's always good when you have someone else there with you.
It's as if
to
the spirit
witness
went,
it.
you're absolutely right.
That's exactly what it felt like.
I am.
And then
a
we
ghost.
just we just we just
Yeah.
lost our shit, like jumping on the couch. We were like, no way, man.
This is
So,
fucking
That's,
awesome.
that's just a little, how can I explain that? What are the chances, huh?
Love
I
it.
know.
Yeah, see, I think that's why I believe in perception. I believe in like the moment and the experience, but I'll have a hard time ever believing that it just exists unless it happens to me. We talk about this a lot, where it's
Yeah.
like you could show me footage of a ghost, and I'll be like, Photoshop, lens flare, whatever.
Yeah, it's hard
I feel
to,
like, but I think I'm also so entrenched. There's probably a good chance that like the door could blow open, a banshee could scream at me, and I'd be like, yeah, but I like slept weird last night. I don't know. I might just be too
I haven't
rooted.
drank enough water today.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to. It's like X-Files. I want to believe. Do I? I don't think that I don't think I can let myself.
Yeah.
Well, join the club. I think it's a healthy thing to have like
Yeah.
1 foot in and 1 foot out. Right?
Yeah.
And have the possibility of being open to certain things, but not necessarily maybe believing in anything at all.
Sure. Yeah.
Going back to Robert Anton Wilson Chapel Perilous talk here, but it's like like
What?
Of course.
you
Gesundheit. Wait, what?
We all know what he said. Don't pretend you didn't know whatever that was.
Yes. Yes. So listen, I just think I think there's the possibility that it is a personalized phenomenon.
Yeah.
Right. And that sometimes standard documentation might not even, in most cases, in very many cases, and this is demonstrated by us not having any, is not available to be captured except for within our own human perception potentially. So I agree, man. I think there is something to be said about the level of our participation. Also, I think engages our level of perception of what this is.
I love that.
Thinking about that.
I love that. I want to just to like dig in on that. I had this idea a long time ago, and I keep saying like this: we should do this. We just haven't done it yet. But I love what you just said, and like humans, we've been chasing the idea of life after death. Forever, literally, since we've been capable of thinking about it, and no one's got anything.
Yeah.
No one's got any evidence. As advanced as our technology is, we got nothing. We got stuff that looks really weird and compelling sometimes. We even shot something that I think is weird. But like, we don't have something that makes you go like, yeah, see, that's Abraham Lincoln, and he said he wishes he had an iPhone. Like we need like something that's like like a definitive like plant your flag. But that's why Zach Bagans, all he can do is yell at the ghosts, and he doesn't get anything.
Yes, you got to do something else because you're not going to have
Exactly.
like the proof.
So I had this thought a while ago. Anytime I heard a ghost story, a lot of the time it was somebody being like, oh yeah, Mildred and I went to Cape May, and I was sitting on the potty, and she was packing the bags. And then the closet door slammed open. And it's like, okay, you weren't paying attention. You were doing two different things.
You were on the potty. We heard you.
We heard you. I
You
want
were
to know more about that,
distracted.
but we'll talk about the other thing first. And then somebody goes like, that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, we'll get to the bottom of this. And they come in and they point the camera at the closet. And they go, all right, we're here now, ghost. Do it again. No. No, the ghost is there theoretically when you're not hyper focused on it. When you're not hyper focused. I want to do a travel show. I want to do a ghost show where Kristen and I go somewhere for a quote unquote ghost investigation. At best, we put an EMF reader on the table in front of us and sit and tell the story of the haunting in the haunted house.
Right.
And hope that it happens in the margins. It happens
that
in your
catches it.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to.
It happens in your peripheral vision.
Focused elsewhere.
It does not happen when you're looking at it. It happens to the side. That's my theory, if it happens at all.
Yeah. I know. I think it would be fun to do.
It's fascinating. You might really rile them up by telling their story wrong.
Oh, and if
I mean,
That's
there's that too.
That's
And then
not true.
And then if it doesn't work, I can always fall back onto the Zach Bacon's playbook of just being like, I'll kick your ass,
When
you
you start
stupid ghost.
screaming.
Come at me, ghost.
Are you alluding to the idea that paranormal television might not be the best way to study or interpret things?
I would never.
That's my next
I would flat out
mind-blowing
say.
theory.
It's my old man joke. I wouldn't allude to it. I'd say it.
Screaming from the rooftops.
Yeah.
All right, Kristen, last thing. Do you have a creepypasta that springs to mind?
Yeah, I really like the search and rescue creepypastas. Like, I really do you know what I'm talking about? Like, there are so there's I guess I wouldn't even say it's a thread. I think it's a continuing story of somebody who says that they are a park ranger, and here are different things that I've encountered out in the wild that are weird or unexplainable. And one of my favorite things from that is this image of seeing a staircase in the middle of the woods with nothing else around it. Is that in Channel Zero?
Yeah, there's a Channel Zero about this one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that one.
good.
I love thinking about just a staircase out of nowhere, just in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
So that's one of my faves.
That is weird. Yeah, that's great. All right, I just wanted to get recommendations out there almost. And I could probably just sit around talking about creepypastas all day.
I know. I'm very excited to look up the Plaid Man now. I
know.
had never heard of that
Yeah.
before.
No, I Googled it and I got
Yeah.
Kurt Russell modeling for Wrangler or something.
Yeah.
Mullet.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing but respect for my Plaid Man.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here. Thank you both so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Oh, anytime. Thank
Just
you
talking about
guys.
spooky stuff, just having fun.
You guys
Oh.
did real good for your first interview ever.
Oh,
You did
thank
real
you.
good.
I think so too.
Oh, that means a lot.
Gang.
Jim, where can we find Euphomet?
You can find everything at euphomet.com, spelled EUPHOMET, and I'm on social media at It's Jim Perry.
Nice. Chelsey, American Hysteria.
Yes, American Hysteria. You can get it on your podcast apps, and you can find us on social media. Let's see, at American Hysteria Podcast on Instagram and at Hysteria on Twitter. Both accounts that Kristen set up, right?
I
All
did.
those years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, because
Wow.
I didn't know the password the other day, and I was like, "Whoa, Kristen have made the password," but I figured it out.
Okay, good. I definitely don't
Yeah,
remember.
Kristen just uses password. You can guess Kristen's passwords.
Perfect. Password one.
Yeah, right.
That's good.
Everybody hack me.
Yeah. All right,
Thank you
everybody.
so much. It was so nice to hang out for a little while. I just enjoy the
nice.
hell out of both of you. So this was super nice.
And it was a long time. Jim, last time I
Yeah.
talked to you, I ghosted you for 2 years.
William. What do you mean?
I told Jim that I was going to write something and send it to him. I just never did.
Oh, William.
I know. And then every time I looked at the clock, I was like, now it's 5 more minutes and I haven't done it. And then it got so long that I was just like, maybe he forgot.
That's how I haunt people.
Yeah, exactly.
Inquire about about sending me things, and then I like to loom in their brain space.
Yeah, Jim, I've been thinking about
way
you
of
literally
doing it.
all day, every day for 2.5 years.
You're going to dream about Jim in plaid tonight.
Oh my God.
He's wearing a hat.
No. My hat man.
Oh, no.
All right, everybody.
You can
Thank
dream.
you.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
everybody.
you. All right.
Well, there you go. All right.
Yeah.
That was our conversation with Jim Perry of Euphomet.
Yes.
Chelsey Weber-Smith of American Hysteria.
Yep. Much adored pod friends.
Yeah, super fun to talk to them. Hope you enjoyed that, everybody.
Yep.
If there's anybody else that you want us to talk to, feel free to reach out to us or, quite frankly, reach out to them.
Yeah.
And ask if they have any interest in talking about what they've been into, and it's just a good time.
Right.
All right, everybody, patreon.com/GTTUpod if you want to dig into more from us every single week and support the show. And the main episodes of Guide to the Unknown. You know, hundreds of topics we have covered. True stories behind horror movies, cryptids, monsters.
Yeah, legends of all stripe.
Yes, go check those out as well. And thanks again to Jim and Chelsey.
Yes.
We'll see you all next week, everybody, for more scary stories. But until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the netherworld. Go we. Beautiful. Gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Like a fine meal. Afterward,
Yes.
you're just...
What a sampling.